to use force against people of color. That's according to a report released by the Community Oversight Board, which found MNPD uses force against people of color at much higher rates than their representation in the population. The report also found that youth who had force used against them by school resource officers were 96% black and 58% female during the 2022-23 school year. New data shows a resurgence of COVID-19. The CDC says COVID hospitalizations have risen by more than 10% across the country. Their latest report shows over 7,100 COVID-19 patients were admitted in the week of July 15th. That's up from 6,400 the week before. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Wendy's is open until midnight or later, which means all your favorite menu items are up later too. The Baconator still tastes just as juicy and bacony at night. So listen to that craving and turn in for the night at a Wendy's drive-thru. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt Impact Driver or Drill for just $99 each. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 8/2.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The latest on LeBron James' son, Bronny. He remains in stable condition at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center after suffering a cardiac arrest on Monday. LA Fire Department paramedics were called to the Galen Center on the USC campus when Bronny lost consciousness. Big props to the USC medical staff on site and the paramedics for their quick response. When a person is having a cardiac arrest, their heart stops or has an irregular heartbeat, and blood flow to the brain, lungs, and other vital organs is interrupted. It's a serious medical incident that requires immediate care. Heart specialists monitoring news coverage of Bronny's situation say it's a positive sign that he made enough improvement to be removed from the intensive care unit. Bronny was taken out of ICU a few hours after arriving at Cedars-Sinai. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
2 years ago, on Juneteenth 2021, KBLA Talk 1580 launched with a promise to give disenfranchised fellow citizens a voice in current political, economic, social, and cultural issues with an empowering, sustainable, and restorative language.
Everybody's got a little light under the sun, under the sun, under the sun, under the sun.
As we enter our third year, we are delighted that KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerges as the talk station of choice for African American listeners. In a vigorous public opinion research study, the 2023 African American Media Issue Survey finds that for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 remains the most trusted, credible, and reliable media source in Southern California for African Americans and beyond. Furthermore, 80% of those surveyed agree that outlets like KBLA Talk 1580 provide honest and authentic content about the issues most important to the Black community directly from Black journalists who understand the issues that need to be addressed. At KBLA Talk 1580, we remain committed to curating conversations that matter to you. Thank you for your continued support. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The station that sounds like the city looks.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money P. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too serious. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First Black on Talk Radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DePrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted Black and Brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DePrima. Go sis.
First things first.
Good morning. God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. This show right here is called First Things First. My first thing every day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting it going, getting you going, getting us going. Hour one, we look local. What's going on the left coast? What's of note? What's of interest? What can deepen our analysis and understanding of the issues that we face? Hour two, we do national, international, and beyond. Hour three, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest. And of course, every hour you're invited in via the phone lines, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. You are also welcome to hit me on any of the social media, KBLA 1580 on X, aka Twitter, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course, we're streaming right now on YouTube, youtube.com, KBLA 1580. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, show a sister some like in the morning. It certainly makes a difference for us, and we appreciate you, our KBLA delegation. We do have a lot to talk about today, and so we're going to get right into it. It's also a Wealth Building Wednesday, so we'll meet today a Black business owner who's doing something kind of unique. Looking forward to that conversation. First, though, most of us know that the hotel workers are on strike. Sort of a strategy of rolling strikes is what we've seen, and there are many different sites with many different issues. We know the hotel union made a deal with one hotel that is, I would say, from my experience just here in LA, is consistently pro-union. That's the Westin Bonaventure Hotel and Suites in downtown Los Angeles. They're the only ones that have a contract. That's because they agreed to terms with the union, Unite Here, Local 11. But we've seen strikes at the airport and in different various establishments. And I suppose that will continue until we get an agreement. Just the same thing going on as we're hearing that it looks like the Teamsters may have reached an agreement, which could preclude that UPS strike that I've been talking about. The Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild have not, and Unite Here Local 11 has not yet done so either. Got a couple folks that want to talk about that with me this morning, specifically in reference to the Laguna Cliffs Marriott and the situation there, where workers have been on strike for quite some time, and there are internal politics at work, which have actually yielded a surprising and I would say promising development. They're here to tell you about that. Joining us this morning, a woman who's dedicated her career to uplifting marginalized voices and bridging communities, doing union organizing and political work along with civil rights, immigrants' rights, women's rights, environmental efforts. She was named one of Orange County's 100 most influential by the Orange County Register in 2020, 2019, 2018, and 2014. She became the first Latina president of Unite Here Local 681 at a time when anti-worker and anti-immigrant sentiment was going strong in Orange County. Not sure when it wasn't there, but she's also earned national recognition as the Unite Here Local 11 earned national recognition as well, launching a full canvassing operation and all the work that they do that we do hear about in LA and Orange County. Ada Briceño, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Dominique, for having me.
Thanks for being on. Ada's the co-president of Unite Here Local 11. We're also being joined by somebody born and raised in LA, a pastor of Saint Mark UMC in the heart of South LA. He says he's passionate about congregational revitalization, spiritual transformation, and community engagement. He calls his vision, prophetic, progressive, and transformative when it comes to what South LA can and should be. Pastor Gary Williams, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique, and thank you for having me on as well.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. It's much appreciated. So let's take us through the story of what is happening there in Orange County. I'll start with you, Ada, since you can speak to it from the union perspective. There has been, an ongoing strike. Tell me this story of what's happened at that particular Marriott.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad to be joined by Pastor Gary Williams, who has been very involved in our struggles. So the workers at the Laguna Cliffs Marriott have been on strike. They're on strike right as we speak, in a solidarity strike to ensure that Black workers are hired into the hotel industry. But we were prior on strike for wages and benefits. Many of our members are one paycheck away from homelessness, are either couch surfing or living in their cars already. Some of them share shifts in a room. For example, if they work the PM, they take the room in the AM and vice versa. These are dire conditions, and that's why we've been pushed out to make sure that we strike and provide a roof over our members' heads.
Right. So there's two tiers here. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Break it down.
Yeah. So when we've been talking to the company for a long time about hiring Black workers into the industry. At some point, they were removed from the industry, and overall, in our union, we've been fighting for 15 years. We have language that mandates that the company hire a diversity, that they hire Black workers. We have a training fund that provides folks that are trained to go into the industry, and yet they refuse. And yet they say that they can't find Black workers to work in the hospitality industry, in the hotel industry. And while looking at the roster, there were very few Black workers at the Laguna Cliffs Marriott. And yet, miraculously, when we went on strike, they found 7 Black workers to go in and break the strike. Some of those workers stopped by to say hi and picket with us. And they were penalized through the application that they use, and they were taken shifts away or not given work. And so as a result, today, yesterday, and the day before, our brown workers are picketing and striking to ensure that Black workers enter the Laguna Cliffs Marriott as permanent workers, not as temporary workers without benefits, without pension, without health care, but we want them in the hotel industry, in the Laguna Cliffs Marriott, with full benefits.
Yeah, we're going to go a lot deeper into this story when we come forward. Pastor Williams, I want to, find out what involvement is here. And this story sounds the opposite of what our impression is, from the stories I hear from a lot of Black workers on this show. So let's get to the how, the why, and the where we're going with this when we come forward. We're talking solidarity, we're talking strikes, we're talking unions. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here for KBLA Talk 1580. We're live in Los Angeles at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. And I'm speaking to some of the attendees today to see why it was so important for them to be here.
Yeah, this is Lathan and Tyler. Main reason that's very important for me to be here is just to leave a legacy for my kids. Black wealth, generational wealth is what we need in our community, Oh, Chase, someone has to take the lead. They're showing, big business like Chase cares, and, they're putting their money where their mouth is at, So it's good to see, big institution like Chase, giving a lifting hand, to the community. And, you got to respect that. It makes me want to bank with Chase and, give them, another look if I go to another institution. I actually see what Chase is doing for the community.
That's right. Chase is doing their part to help advance Black wealth. For more money support, tune in every day from 12 to 2 to KBLA Talk 1580's Midday Money Chain, right here.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, talking about strikes, specifically hotels, and even more specifically, Laguna Hills Marriott. We're joined by Ada Briceño and Pastor Gary Williams. And just my understanding, according to what you have just explained, Ada, is that, we know Unite Here is on strike, Local 11 on strike, and that there has been picketing and striking at this particular hotel for wages and benefits. Something I'm always talking about, which is if the essential workers of any city cannot afford to live in that city, then we have an unsustainable situation. It's ridiculous for people to have to drive an hour or more just to get to their workplace. It's ridiculous for people to be sleeping in their cars or sharing rooms in the conditions you've described. So amidst this strike, you're saying the Marriott Laguna Hills miraculously found Black workers as strike breakers to come in, cross the picket line, and keep that hotel going even though there was a strike on. Those Black workers some of them stopped by the picket line. They were punished for that. Now there's a picket going on to say, well, we want to take these African-American temporary workers and put them in the union, give them the same protections that we're striking for right now. And instead of turning it into a fight, it has added another level of demand to what you're picketing for. Is that accurate, more or less?
Correct. And there is also a contract proposal that we have to strengthen the language that we already have to make sure that we have diversity in the hiring of workers in the hotel, specifically in the Black community. So it is very in line with what we're doing and what we've done for the past 10 or 15 years. So that is, yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking with Maria Elena Durazo about this many, many years ago, and how suddenly there were no Black workers, or maybe over time, not so suddenly, in the hospitality business, and what would it take to get them back in. Pastor Williams, tell me where you fit into this story.
Okay, well, actually, I was born and raised in South Los Angeles. I grew up on the east side, and I've always been in the community with Black and brown folk. And I've been, before I was a minister, I did a number of things, and I've been incarcerated, and I saw how in the jail system they pit us against one another. And so I've been a part of CLUE, which is Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. I'm the co-chair of that organization. It's a faith-based organization that works for worker rights and the rights of our people. And this is just another example of systemic racism, white supremacy, the whole establishment pitting us against one another. And so I've been standing with this union, with these workers. I'm proud to be a part of this fight to bring African Americans into the hospitality industry. My own daughter has trained in that in the industry itself, and still hasn't been able to find work.
So, and I gotta, you can both address this, but let's start with Pastor Williams. The elephant in the room is always the conversation we have on this radio station and the other two that I've been on prior to this one, that black workers feel brown workers don't want them on job sites. That whether it's nepotism or anti-blackness or whatever it might be, pushes black workers out of certain industries, notably hospitality and construction. And so this is a different narrative than the one that we typically hear or the one that some folks experience. Can you address that, Pastor Williams?
I just, personally, marginalized people have always been pitted against one another. And I think we have to break that down. And I think we're beginning now with that. I've met some of these brown workers, and they are standing up for the rights of African Americans that also work. I think people are beginning to see that we're stronger together than we are apart. We have more similarities than differences. We have our communities together are struggling. And so that I believe that this is just a breaking point, and this is an opportunity for us to mend fences, an opportunity for us to be in solidarity with one another. And so I'm just here to support that effort.
Amada Briceño, I'm sure you've heard that narrative too. And I don't, want to just like dismiss it as a narrative, as people's experiences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think obviously having one-on-one conversations with our members about taking really a real look at what they're doing, why they're striking out there yesterday, today, tomorrow. They're out there to ensure that that if we leave one group of workers out, they're next, right? And so that solidarity is important. And we have sat there and talked to them about the history, about how these multi-million-dollar corporations or the folks that are in charge are putting us against each other. And that is a way to keep us down. That is a way, that's how they got to the goals that they have of keeping us oppressed. So it is an education process. And I want to tell you that I believe that this is something that will impact our members for life. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud of what they're doing.
Yeah, so tell me how that came down. I mean, typically, I've been on many a picket line in my life, and typically when strikebreakers come, they are the enemy. Like, if people cross the picket line, especially to go work, to keep that company going while you're striking, typically they're the enemy.
Well, we're on the same side, right? We all want the same thing. And whether it's workers in our, there's a few workers that might have crossed the picket line, or whether they're temporary workers. Had we not approached Thomas Bradley, which was one of the folks that stayed out with us, okay, he would have never stayed out. If we would have booed him on his way into work, we would have never been able to engage with him, and we would have never had a ULP strike supporting Black workers. So we see an opportunity in everybody who's going in to educate them, to organize them, to bring one more person to our side, and make sure that we are moving the fight forward together. So, maybe some picket lines are like that, and I'm not saying that ours aren't 100% like that, but we also see opportunities to bring people that might not otherwise have a chance to hear what we have to say.
I mean, to me, that's pretty funny. The hotel brings in African-American workers to to be temporary workers and, keep the hotel going while y'all are striking, and then they end up joining the strike in a sense. That's what you call a management strategy backfiring, I would say.
Well, that's our goal, right? I mean, you come after us, and we will do what we do best, which is change the hearts and minds of people around us.
Yeah. Well, and this, as you say, this isn't 100% new, and I know this is also something Clue has worked on in different settings, right? So this idea that union contracts can and do include some diversity language, some inclusion language, seems particularly relevant right now because of the anti-DEI laws and policies and sort of movement. I just talked to this Republican guy on the show yesterday who was trying to define diversity, equity, and inclusion as discrimination against people, and that's where Republicans are going with this. But talk about that, because I know in Boston and in Chicago, hotel workers' contracts specifically have included language like that.
Yeah. So look, ever since, I've been in the union for 32 years. And shortly after I joined the union, in a different leadership, I started hearing the fact that the industry looked different before I got there, that there were Black workers who held the jobs, who held those middle-class jobs to help their families move forward. And at some point, I remember that became very central to what we were asking for, along with immigration language, to ensure that our people, our brown people were protected, our Black people were protected. And despite our pleas, our demands, our fight, it hasn't been, the industry hasn't brought back the workers and the vision that we have for the hospitality industry and for who needs to hold those jobs. So yes, you're right. There's language in Boston. There's language in Chicago. They're all over the place, and even here in Orange County, because it's a newer part of the union, the language that we have is a little less strong than the one that we have in Los Angeles. So our job is to fortify that contract language to be the top language that we can help, that we can enforce, so we can have folks like Tom Bradley, who was, in our opinion, a hero to stay out of the picket line. To stay out of breaking the strike and hold the picket line with us.
Yeah, go ahead, Pastor Williams. We got about a minute and a half here till news, traffic, and sports, and we'll continue on the other side.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, okay, sure. So, I've met Thomas Brad. He's come to my church, and I've listened to his struggle. But I was also at the convention center when the union had a strike vote. There were Black workers that came from Chicago to support the union here. And I think that the more that they see that we're on the same team, we're on the same side, it's the same struggle. I think that's helping to unify us. Even to see Black clergy standing up for brown workers at the same time has been a powerful expression of my faith, and it's also shown individuals that we can work together, that we stand together. So.
Yeah, and we're taking your phone calls, like always, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I'm being joined by Ada Briceño, who's co-president of Local 11, Unite Here, and Pastor Gary Williams, and of course you, 800-920-1580. It's KBLA 1580, where we're amplifying Black and progressive voices around the clock.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Bronny James, the oldest son of Lakers African-American star LeBron James, remains hospitalized after going into cardiac arrest at USC basketball practice. The 18-year-old incoming freshman was rushed to a hospital and placed in intensive care after collapsing during practice at the Galen Center on Monday. Tuesday, a family representative said James was in stable condition at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. The blistering heat that's been broiling much of the South and Southwest is now invading the Midwest, pushing afternoon highs above 100 degrees. Forecasters are warning that the heat and humidity could last for days. Cities like St. Louis, Wichita, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri will roast in temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above average. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 8/2.
Wendy's is open until midnight or later, which means all your favorite menu items are up later too. The Baconator still tastes just as juicy and bacony at night. So listen to that craving and turn in for the night at a Wendy's drive-thru. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The latest on LeBron James' son, Bronny. He remains in stable condition at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center after suffering a cardiac arrest on Monday. LA Fire Department paramedics were called to the Galen Center on the USC campus when Bronny lost consciousness. Big props to the USC medical staff on site and the paramedics for their quick response. When a person is having a cardiac arrest, their heart stops or has an irregular heartbeat, and blood flow to the brain, lungs, and other vital organs is interrupted. It's a serious medical incident that requires immediate care. Heart specialists monitoring news coverage of Bronny's situation say it's a positive sign that he made enough improvement to be removed from the intensive care unit. Bronny was taken out of ICU a few hours after arriving at Cedars-Sinai. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader. If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the
leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Appreciate you. We're talking labor. We're talking fairness. We are talking hotel workers specifically this hour, as we typically look to the local in hour 1. And, what's going on in Orange County. Sometimes we don't focus on that as much as we could. The Briceño and Pastor Gary Williams are with us, and they are talking about, what's going on at this one particular hotel, which is symptomatic of what comes out of work strife, and hopefully this hot labor summer, not just gains for workers in terms of wages and working conditions, but also this kind of solidarity. And I'm, happy to hear about it. Latino Black solidarity in the strike. One piece of the puzzle that we haven't. Let's go to Ronnie calling us from Orange County first, and then I'll address the further questions that I have with you. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I really, really want to share that there's an extra point that could be added, which is it's never too late to make this a teachable moment for our youth and family members. Case in point, about 20 years ago, during the grocery store strike, my daughter was visiting me for the summer visit, and she told me that the close grocery store, she says, Mama says if they're on strike, we're not on strike. And so I broke down the labor conversation and the racial construct, but I also had been driving to local Mexican markets and Asian markets, to buy the Thanksgiving food and meals because I wasn't going to cross. And so 30 years later, my daughter did have a conversation and is much more astute. By the way, I'm sitting over here in Dana Point, right over by the waterfront, and I'm wondering, that Orange County Hotel that you speak of, is that the one just up the street here?
I don't know the answer to that because I don't spend a lot of time in OC. Ada or Pastor Williams, do you know what he's talking about?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it is in Dana Point, and it's right next to a huge, beautiful park overseeing the water.
All right. Well, you guys could figure that out. But I love that, Ronnie, that, you've had this ongoing conversation with your daughter for 20 years about not just the politics of labor, but how race and ethnicity and solidarity can play into that. The missing piece that I wanted to ask you about, for starters, Ada, is the app, because there's an app that's playing a role here. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so it is an app that is penalizing workers when they don't show up, and it is having a big impact on folks. So it is, they're not supposed to discriminate for people participating in union activities, and this app has automatically kept them out of different shifts, and penalized them as a result.
So part of what you're asking for is discontinuing the use of this app, or?
Well, making sure that this app does not discriminate people's rights to picket and people's rights to participate in the strike.
Yeah, and it's, I think, a peek at, we always call it the future, but it's really a peek at what's happening right now, where technology can be used for good, but it can also be used for alarming kinds of surveillance and tracking that could be very detrimental during a strike. Reverend Gary Williams, talk to me about the letter that you sent, which you now have at least 20 black clergy and
Yes.
more than 24 state legislators signed on. Tell me what that's about.
Well, we were asking black clergy folk, black people of faith, to sign on, and because the way that they have pitted us against each other, and again miraculously found some black workers to break the strike, and so we at CLU were able to put this letter together and to put some language in there about this unfairness, and about some theological framework to it as well. And so we've been able to, right now, so far we've gotten 20 clergy, and yesterday on the strike, on the picket line, another African American clergy person from Orange County was there with us on yesterday.
So, and I mean, it harkens back to many, right, activists or liberation theologists, right, the Martin Luther Kings, the Reverend Barbers, whoever. But what impact do you think it makes, Pastor Williams, to have those clergy as part of this action?
Well, whenever we're there at the picket line with workers, they lighten up, they brighten up because they see the support. On yesterday, after we had met with management, we came back down the hill, and they lined up for me to just stand before them and just bless them, anoint them with oil, and pray over each one. And so they feel the power of faith. A lot of these workers are faithful people. They have their own faith, and so I think there's a connection there. It was just a powerful statement to see all of them line up in front of me on yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it's often said that Sunday morning is the most segregated, few hours of the week all over America. What do you think the role of the clergy is in this moment of black and brown solidarity?
Well, their organization, CLU has a group it's the Black and Brown community. It's a coalition of black and brown clergy that have been working together for years to break that and to show solidarity. And so even myself, my home church, the church I grew up at, is on the east side. When I was a kid, it was predominantly black. Today, it's predominantly brown. My wife is over there every day during the summer program, mostly brown kids. All of our children, it's the same needs. And so as the church, we need to see the whole, we see the whole community, that all of God's people, we're all God's people, all made in the image of God. No matter what our color, or no matter what our language, our gender, whoever we are. And so that's the way I preach. That's the language that I use in my sermons.
Listening to KBLA, and you are always invited into the conversation. The dialogue is not a monologue. It's about engagement. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey LA, are you feeling the heat? LADWP has rebates up to $225 on new air conditioners to help you beat the heat and save money. Plus, you can sign up for Level Pay to get predictable monthly bills for easy budgeting. Stay cool. Visit ladwp.com/COOL-LA. That's ladwp.com/COOL-LA.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dominique DePrima, and there are so many reasons to take out a small business loan. Set yourself up for long-term success with access to credit for operating expenses, equipment, and technology, leasing or financing, and more. Although the process may seem daunting, your U.S. Bank Business Access Advisor can guide you through that process. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
What's up, LA? The Reparationist community got something real special going down in historic Leimert Park. August 12th, 2023, this event is sponsored by Reparations United and Black Pact, fighting for justice and empowering our community. Together, we can make moves. We have an insane lineup for y'all. The sultry Rotimi, the king of LA, The Game, smooth Eric Benet, and none other than the powerful sounds of blackness. Also, we have some special guests in the house. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, State Senator Stephen Bradford, LA's beloved Councilwoman Heather Hutt, and many more. They're bringing their passion and leadership to the stage. Mark your calendars, August 12th, 2023, Leimert Park. Let's come together, support each other, and make a difference. Peace, love, and reparations benefit concert and unity rally. Be there or be left out. Produced by Tara Perry of Black Pact and Cam Howard of Reparations United.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
And in case you were wondering, our deep dive today, we're going to meet Gerald Garth. He's the first African-American ever to be the president of LA Pride. And we've got a lot to talk about there. Speaking now with Ada Briceño and Pastor Gary Williams, and we're taking a look at what's happening with a strike within a strike, Black-Brown Solidarity in action over what's going down at the Laguna Cliffs Marriott in Orange County. And so, you were talking about how you teach and how you preach at your church. And earlier, Ada, you were talking about the learning curve even, within this particular action and how, it's impacting people's view of Black and brown solidarity, of what it looks like to work together, and the power that we have when we stand together. What's the ultimate goal here?
Well, we're continuing on our mission to ensure that Black workers come into the hotel industry. we know we're stronger together, and the communities are empowered when everybody is able to participate. So that's a very strong proposal we have, and we're going to stand by it. We're going to stand by it, and our members are feeling empowered at the Laguna Cliffs Marriott around it. I think there's something very interesting that I want to share with your listeners. Congresswoman Barbara Lee recently met with Thomas Bradley, which is one of the folks that joined us on the picket line and did not go into the hotel. And she met with him, heard his story, heard what we're trying to do. And in a very short period of time, she was able to get 21 of her Congress colleagues to sign on a letter to the UC Regents, who owns in a pension fund and investments, the Laguna Cliffs Marriott. And, that letter, along with the letter that our leaders in Sacramento wrote, and the letter that clergy wrote, have been very powerful on UC Regents. These are investments of our regents, and Pastor Gary and I and many workers went to talk to the UC Regents about this issue, and we have expectations that they will respond and that they will take note of what we're doing and help us reach an agreement on the issues that are important to us in this contract and in this dispute with the hotel around Black workers.
Ms. Briceño, I know that you mentioned, and I've been aware that Local 11 Unite Here has been advocating to bring more Black workers into hospitality for some time, and it's been slow going. But it seems like, if I look at what happened with the Oakland teacher strike, even the teachers here in Los Angeles, where they put in specific language in their contract about retaining the Black Student Achievement Plan in Oakland, they added language to help unhoused students. And these are, I guess you could say, social justice goals that are being added into union contracts. When we come forward, I want to hear about, is that a trend? Obviously, it's not new for Local 11, but do you see that as a growing trend? And how does it fit into the landscape of what we see these conservative legislators doing to try to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion, along with trying to eliminate unions? We'll take a look at that when we continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Contracts, and grants. This is Rambo, and I'm back August 5th. Contracts, and grants. I'll be at the Westin Hotel, LAX, Saturday, August 5th. Me and my guests are fast-paced in the contracts and grants. They only speak 6 minutes each. I have LA County, I have the city, I even have Everett, the CEO of Lindustry, coming to talk to you guys. And for the first time ever, I have Metro's Director of Certification coming. We average over 700 attendees, so you know the rules. Parking's about $15 with the event validation, event, coffee, snacks, all free, paid for by Rambo Industry. And yes, you can bring guests. So save your seat, DeonRambo.com. Listen, contract ready's only 2 hours from 10 a.m. to 12. But if you get there around 9:30, I'll probably be doing some Q&As and things like that before the events I never get a chance to do. I honestly keep saying, I don't know what's more important for LA businesses right now than local contracts. So I'm back, Westin Hotel, LAX, Saturday, August 5th. August 5th. It takes 2 minutes to register. DeonRambo.com. Go register now. DeonRambo.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Right, talking with Pastor Gary Williams with Clue and also out of Briceño, Local 11. And I asked you about this idea of including social justice language that's not narrowly focused on just wages and working conditions in union contracts. You think it's a growing practice, and how do you put it in the environment, sort of toxic political environment that we're in right now?
So I do hope that we see more of that, and I think you and I thank you for recognizing that our union, we try our best, because when our members get, what good does it do someone to only put a roof over their head or make enough to live, right? If they're disrespected or unseen by their elected officials or council members. We teach them how to go and take the podium and speak up for themselves. What good is it when we don't think about our members as wholesome people, and on their way home, their children get killed in the streets, and we don't speak up, by cops, for example. What good is it if we can't, take action on helping reach, rent control, for example? These are all issues that we as unions have to think about in a wholesome way. And yes, the current political status that we're in merits all of us being thoughtful, whether it's in our contract language as unions or in general in the overall society, to advocate for the issues that are affecting our members every single day in and about their community.
Yeah. Pastor Gary Williams, what can we do to support? Yes. I mean, I do hear all the time that, we stand up for everybody, but everybody doesn't stand up for us. So this is a refreshing story to be reporting. Right. How can we help support the workers in this scenario?
Well, I would like to invite other African American clergy to join us, to sign on the letters, not too late to sign on, to be a part of the work that CLUE does. To understand that this fight is a fight of poverty across the board. The same people that want to block us from a living wage, the same people that block reproductive rights, that block health care, that block gun control, that block voting rights. These are the same people. I think once we all understand that, we can all work together and build a coalition and a movement across. It's already started across America. And so we're working right here in Southern California. And so I would just call on other Black leaders to join us.
All right. And how can they find CLUE?
We're on the website. And if anybody, my church, you can come and see me, give me a call, look on my website at Saint Mark UMC, LA. We're on the corner of 83rd and Gramercy in South Los Angeles, a big pink church on the corner. And so I'm always open and available to speak with anybody. And CLUE has a website as well.
All right. And same question for you, Ada Briceño. Just got about a minute here. Where can we find you and how do we support?
Yes, so we're at Unite Here, Local 11. You can find us in the, our website. But most importantly, if you see our red shirts, striking in front of a hotel, please don't cross the picket line. They're having the fights of their lives. They're risking everything to make sure that we move, our everyone. When we lift the bottom, we lift everyone up. And unfortunately, folks have thought about our workers as dishwashers and cooks, scrubbing toilets and washing dishes as the bottom. I don't see it that way, but we have to fight to make sure that no matter all work is dignified and all work, deserves respect and a good living. And so we need to change people's minds about that. But when we lift one group up, inevitably others come up. So help us do that as a community. Do not cross a picket line. Come and support us on the picket line. Everybody's welcome.
Ala Briceño and Pastor Gary Williams, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you for having us today. We appreciate it.
News, traffic, and sports. And then it's time for Wealth Building Wednesday right here. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Bronny James, the oldest son of Lakers African-American star LeBron James, remains hospitalized after going into cardiac arrest at USC basketball practice. The 18-year-old incoming freshman was rushed to a hospital and placed in intensive care after collapsing during practice at the Galen Center on Monday. Tuesday, a family representative said James was in stable condition at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. The blistering heat that's been broiling much of the South